Welcome to Solacam Professor. I'm Sydney, your Solacam Professor, with one of many recordings available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
We'll be continuing now, showing you the rest of the operations that were done in our main spindle. If we take a look at our first operation over here, you can see that we'll be clearing out this groove area over here. And in our next operation, we'll be clearing out this area over here, finishing off this area as shown on our toolpath over there. Now, the next operation, you can see we're doing an angle groove in this side over here, whereas the next one will also be doing an angle groove, but just on the other side. In our next operation, we'll be finishing off this area here, doing the rest machining on this area over here, taking away the rest of the material that was left over here. And then we'll be continuing working on the simultaneous turning in this area over here as shown on the part to be able to work simultaneously in that area in turning. After that, we've entered another MCO operation. If we were to open up the MCO operation, if we take a look at the turret itself, you'll see we have the device. In this particular case, we're talking about the upper turret. And the movement, we've added a movement to this device, as shown over here, moving it in the X direction, moving it also in the Z direction, and you can also see that we're moving it with a rapid feed on the machine. Next, we'll be going to our next operation, which is an actual milling operation, and that is actually working on this hole inside over here. And again, now we'll be going back, working on a turning operation, working on this area over here, going inside and finishing off with an internal operation over there. Now, in our next operation, we'll be working with milling, working on these surfaces over here. Before we do the drilling over here, we're required to put a flat surface over here. So we've done that in this operation on all of those surfaces going around the part. And then we've done our drilling operations for that particular hole over there. Next, we've also done a drilling operation, spot drill, for these holes on this circumference around over there, as well as the finish drill for that particular area over there, for those holes. Now, in our next operation, we've worked on finishing off these holes over here, and also finishing off these holes over here. Now, in our next two operations, we've worked on these slots over here, working using the simultaneous operation to work across those parts over there. And this operation is actually working simultaneously on this surface using the face mill over here around on all of those surfaces over there. Now let's go into our first operation. As you can see, we have the geometry inside over here, inside this groove over here. And of course, we'll be using our tool of the grooving tool over here. We'll go into our next operation over here. And as you can see, we'll be cleaning out that area over there. And if we go into the operation itself, you can see the geometry that was picked to clear out this area over here. In our next operation, as you can see, we've done this groove here and this groove over here. If we were to go into the operation itself, you can see the actual geometry shown over here. And you can see the tool that we use over here. This particular tool over here at the proper angle that it has to be worked on. And this is the same with the next operation over here, just on the other side. Now, in our next operation, we've done this, worked on this area over here. If I were to open up the operation itself, You can see our geometry working in this area over here, and the tool that was used for that particular operation. Now, in our next operation, we've worked inside this groove over here, and this was done using the simultaneous turning operation as shown over here. You can see the geometry that was chosen working in this area over there. And of course, we have our tool in this particular case, which is proper for this particular operation. After that, we've added the MCO operation, which I showed you before, and then we've added now our next operation, which is actually our milling operation working inside the hole over there. If we were to open up the operation, you can see our geometry is this particular area over here working inside over there with the proper milling tool that's needed for that particular operation. In our next operation, we've worked on a turning operation to finish off the inside of this hole over here. If we open up the operation, you can see that we're working on a turning operation using this geometry over here to finish off the inside over there. Now, in our next operation, we've done another milling operation. If we were to take a look at the geometry, you can see that we're working on these flat surfaces over here in order to clear off this area as required for those drills. And this is being done all around. And we just did this on one side in the operation. However, we did an indexing option over here to be able to do it on all of them going around. Next, we've done a drilling operation for the holes over there, as shown in our geometry over here, to drill out that hole. Continuing on to the next operation, which is actually working on these areas over here, inside the holes over here itself. If we continue now to our next operation, you'll see again, we're working on these holes over here, completing it to the proper size that we needed over there. And then we've gone back to these holes over here. If we take a look at these holes over here itself, with the geometry as well, you can see that we're working on these holes inside over there. Those are the holes that we're working on, completing the drilling operation for those holes over there, as well as the next operation, completing the drilling operation for these holes around this particular circumference over there. We've done a 5-axis simultaneous operation, working on these grooves over here on the part, as shown over here, to work inside the area. If we were to open up the operation itself, you can see the geometry as shown over here, working with the projection option in the 5-axis operations. And you can see our geometry, the part over here, the surface that needed to be worked on, and the actual projection curve as shown over here. Now, in this next operation, we'll also be doing a 5-axis operation on these areas over here. And if we open up the operation itself, you'll see we again using the projection option. And if we take a look on the geometry itself for our drive surface, we have this surface over here, as well as our projection of line over there. In this particular case, the tool that we used was a simple face mill just to work on top of that particular.
For more recordings on SolidCAM Professor, please go to our website, www.solidcam.com, and look for the tab of SolidCAM Professor. Thank you for joining us on SolidCAM Professor. Take care and have a nice day.